Hey, all right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakha Kodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and many salutations to you, elect Akim, across the four winds of this earth. All right, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. And I also want to say shalom to the few sincere sisters that are out there that actually do believe. All right, it's more scarce to none, but you still have some sisters out there that believe and that subscribe to this truth. All right, and I just want to go into a lesson, a quick lesson here. As I was doing some reading, I've been reading up a little bit, just reading about Moses and reading the book of Exodus, and I've through the Spirit that's inspired me to go into a couple of lessons on things that I had picked up through the Spirit as I had read it, but today's lesson, again, it's going to be pretty short. However the Spirit wants it to go out, however long it is. But the intention of it isn't being long at all. But it's going to be based on when Moses was given the instruction to go into the land of Egypt and deliver the Hebrews. All right, deliver us out of the land of Egypt. Okay, now I'm going to go to the book of Exodus 4. And really, when you want to go into the whole account of the burning bush, Moses going to Mount Horeb, you can really start at around chapter 3, you know. But chapter 3 and chapter 4 pretty much is the whole account, all right, of the record of Moses speaking to the Spirit of the Lord in the form of a burning bush. Okay, so he had told Moses what he needed to do, what he needed to say, the things that he needed to fulfill in order for the Israelites to be delivered out of the hands of Pharaoh and out of the land of the Egyptians. Okay, out of the land of our captivity, so to speak. Okay, so Moses was given a task at hand. Okay, now the point that I wanted to go to is going to be in the end of chapter 4. Okay, actually, I'm gonna, not the end, more so toward the middle. Okay, but let's see here. I'm gonna start at verse 18, and this is after Moses leaves the burning bush. Okay, this is after he received the instruction. So it says in Exodus 4:18, and Moses went and returned to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said unto him, let me go, I pray thee, and return unto my brethren which are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moses, go in peace. Okay, so Moses, which shows you forth, he was an upright man, because Jethro was his father-in-law, but he also, to a degree or to an extent, was employed under Jethro. Okay, he was watching Jethro's flock. You got to think about it. For these 40 years, Moses had been in the land of Midian, all right, and he's been in that house, serving that family. Okay, so Moses had played a very key role going into the house of Reuel. Okay, now when you go into this, Moses had gave instruction, or I should say Moses had asked for Jethro's blessing to leave so we could go and fulfill the Heavenly Father's will that he wanted done. Okay, now when you read verse 18 of what I just explained, verse 19 says, and the Lord said unto Moses in Midian, go, return into Egypt, for all the men are dead which sought thy life. All right, so when you read this account here, it's like almost instantly when Moses is given the commandment, he's given the instruction to go and perform these duties that he was supposed to in order for Israel to be delivered out of the hands of the Egyptians. Moses went immediately. Now, when he was talking to the Lord, he had his doubts, he had his flaws when he spoke to the Lord, but after it was all said and done, and he went to Jethro to return his flock, he let Jethro know about it, and Jethro gave him his blessing to leave immediately. Brothers, the reason why I went into this particular verse right here, because Moses is an example of, of course, he's an example of all of us. All right, a prophet of the Heavenly Father. Now, Moses had a very key, important role within our nation. So I'm not saying we're put on the same level or pedestal as Moses is, because we're not. But I'm just using him as the example of how it is to us. All right, just as the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, had spoken to Moses, and he instructed Moses with particular plans and duties to perform, all right, that's going to take part in the deliverance of Israel from the Egyptians. We have to look at that within ourselves. We've been instructed with a very important task. Since we've been instructed with this task, there is no wavering with it. There's no looking back with it. All right. We have the scriptures that talks about remember Lot's wife. We have the scriptures that talks about not taking your hands off of the plow. Okay, those scriptures are all over the place, and you have a lot of guys, which the scriptures talk about as well, that don't make excuses, all right, pertaining to this supper. All right, they'll make excuses for every way. All right, when at the end of the day, man, we're supposed to be doing the work. Okay, now again, there are people that are out there as a warning to the flock on how not to be, as pertaining to taking their hand off the plow. That's meant as a warning. All right, but we're also, okay, we're on the other hand, we, the body, all right, we're made as the example on how to follow the Lord, what the men of the Lord will be doing, listening to his will and executing it expediently, man. All right, or as speedily, if I said the word wrong. Okay, but just as we were called into this ministry, man, we supposed to go. All right, there's no just sitting down, just, okay, am I really a man of the Lord? Am I not a man of the Lord? Am I this? Okay, is the Lord really speaking to me, or should I be reading? All that stuff is gray areas, and the Lord don't deal with gray areas. He don't deal with those maybes, buts, or hows. All right, the Lord is like, you either gonna get with it or you gonna leave. All right, and just as Moses was the example of seeing the burning bush, listening to the words of the Lord, and that he went instantly afterwards, packed up and left, that's the mind state that we have to have being in this truth. And that's why I wanted to give this example here. All right, now I got one more example to bring out. Bear with me one sec, Baba Kashaw. Okay, I believe it's in 1 Kings chapter 19. Let's see here. So this is the book of 1 Kings chapter 19. Verse 19. All right, now going into this account here, this is Elijah and Elisha, two other prophets, two other high-level prophets that the Lord had dealt with on a very high level. These are men that were on fire for the Lord. Okay? Now, when you go into this account here, this is when the prophet Elijah, give me one sec, you're going to hear some noise in the background. Hold on one sec. All right. Salakia. All right, so I'm going back to it. All right, when you go into this account here, this is when Elisha, the prophet, was called into the ministry. All right, just as I just read the example of Moses being called into the ministry and leaving forth immediately to serve the Heavenly Father. Okay, this is another example pertaining to Elisha, the prophet, being called. All right, so this is the book of 1 Kings chapter 19. And this is when pretty much Elijah had found the news that there were 7,000 prophets that have not bowed down their knees unto Baal. Okay, so this is 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 19. It says, so he departed thence and found Elisha, the he being Elijah. All right, so Elijah departed thence and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he with the 12th. And Elijah passed by him and cast his mantle upon him. Okay, so Elisha had a normal life. Okay, he was he was a farmer, which a lot of the men, a lot of the ancient our ancient ancestors or the ancient Israelites were very, very in tune and equipped with the proper tools pertaining to farming and all that. That's what we were into. Okay, Adam was a farmer. Okay, we were heavily into taking care of our sheep, our houses, our oxen, our fields, all of that. We were very in tune with the earth. Okay, so I mean, who's to say what Elisha was doing on top of that in his leisure time or whatever. I mean, he had to have been a man that had understanding on the ancient scrolls for the Lord to send Elijah out there to call him to the ministry. Okay. But it says, so he departed thence and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he with 12. And Elijah passed by him and cast his mantle upon him. Now that mantle goes to pretty much his garment. All right. And he left the oxen. Now, all right. So this is after Elijah had called Elisha. Look at the response. Look at the way Elisha reacted to Elijah telling him, the Lord wanted me to call you. Okay. The Lord's calling you and he using me to do it. Look at Elisha's response. All right. It says, and he left the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, let me, I pray thee, kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow thee. And he said unto him, go back again, for what have I done to thee? Okay, so this is a very similar account here. Just as Moses had heard the word of the Lord, he went to Jethro, his father-in-law, and asked that he was excused, all right, so he could head to Egypt to perform the will and the duty and the commandments of the Heavenly Father. All right, to fulfill his calling and his purpose. Okay, and what did Elisha do? Elisha was called by the Most High, and Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai had to use the prophet Elijah to do it. And what did Elisha do? He went over to his mom and his dad, gave him a kiss on the cheek. All right, verse 21, and he turned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slew them and boiled their flesh with the instruments of the oxen and gave unto the people, and they did eat. Then he arose and went after Elijah and ministered unto them. All right, so you have to think about it like this too, okay? Having an oxen, all right, that's not a cheap animal, okay? I mean, when you look at it today, I believe oxen can run up to like $800 to $5,000 a pop, okay? So this is what Elisha did for a living. This is what he did. You know what I'm saying? He was a husbandman. All right. He was, I'll say this, he was a laborer. All right. And that clearly shows you that he didn't choose the oxen, how much they were worth, their purpose, their duty. He didn't choose that over what the Heavenly Father had called him to do. Just like Moses. Moses could have easily said, oh, you know, I got this right now. I got a family. All right. I'm kind of set. Lord, it's been 40 years. I'm set. I'm old. I'm good. No. It didn't matter because they understood the purpose. They understood the reason why Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai wanted them to do that and how much that would impact not only themselves, but the people that were around Israel. Okay. The ones who were meant to listen, to the elect. All right. If a lot of those works weren't done, all right, you even think about it like this. If those men that we're going into right now, Moses, Elisha, if these men wouldn't have did what they did, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't even be alive to talk about it. Yahweh Shai wouldn't even been born. All the prophets' roles played a key. All right, it played I should word it as played a very important role into what we're doing today. All right, so they didn't use what they did. They didn't use their job as an excuse. All right, Elisha cut them things up and pretty much said, forget this. I'm doing the work of the Lord. That's what he did. All right, now just using those few examples, which we have many more in the scriptures of holy men that had declined worldly affairs, worldly things in order to serve the Lord. All right, and we read about it day in and day out. So how much more do we have to constantly examine ourselves and remind ourselves daily? Is anything else that's out here more important than the Lord? Is your job more important than you being able to make it to camp and do the work? All right, is your job more important than putting up videos? Is your time more important, I should say, than dedicating time to the Heavenly Father? All right, these are just things that we have to think about being involved in this thing of ours. All right, we always talk about it, how the truth is not supposed to be worked around your daily life, but your daily life should be worked around the truth. The truth should come first. And these are men, examples of men that showed forth that action, which shows that they put the truth, they put the will of the Heavenly Father first before their own lives. So how much more do we have to look at it ourselves? All right. Does not the scripture say, love not thy life unto death? Okay. This life is nothing. Now, of course, we have certain jobs. We have things that we do that are down here and we understand that money's a defense. But at the same time, if we trust and believe that Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is going to guide us in the right direction, when we put him first, he's going to give us everything else that our hearts desire. But first, we have to yearn for that wisdom. And when he commands us to do certain things pertaining to doing this work, performing his duty, performing his will, that has to come first and nothing else. So how much more examples do we have in the scriptures to actually see it for ourselves? So since those men were so eager to put down whatever it was and do the will, we have to be the same. We have to be the same, you know. Now I'm going to end it off on that. I didn't intend on it to be too long at all, but Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. All right, so I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Harachah Kodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and many salutations to you, elect Akim, across the four winds of this earth, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. All right, Shalom.